So it seems Microsoft's ambition to be everywhere and anywhere is going according to plan. As you can see from this future of Xbox, they are going pretty much everywhere. They've got a new handheld coming along that will pretty much play the PC Game Pass games as well as Steam and everything else, but there is talks of the Xbox Windows OS actually playing those Xbox One, 360 and OG games, or them finding a way to actually make it happen. Now, not every game is going to work due to licensing, but that is just a thing. But we've also got games that have failed. Another Cyberpunk Dilemma has dropped. We've also got Stellar Blade's massive monumental success. We've also got Shuhei Yoshida a little bit drunk because he's saying stuff that clearly isn't true and still protecting his former company, which isn't a surprise. But let's dive into the actual video, because at the moment you're seeing on screen the future of Xbox. And this is a really good family tree, you could say, because you've got Xbox at the top of the ecosystem. The console is where it was at, which is going to play the native console games. You've got Game Pass, split into the Series S, X. These are the devices. And then you've got the cloud saves, which they allow you to play anywhere. PC Game Pass, you've got desktop, you've got the ROG Xbox Ally now as a new entry to the family that's specifically kind of like a dedicated device to the Xbox family. And again, these are allowing you to do that whole play anywhere motion. Mobile is pretty much self-explanatory. You've got Apple and Android, and they're providing you with the same option. But as you can see, like this over here is like TV, Fire Sticks and stuff. Everything revolves around Game Pass. And essentially, Xbox is now just an extension of Game Pass, and it then filters out everywhere else. So what this is actually doing is showing you that no matter how you want to game, where you want to game, there is always a way for you to game on Xbox, whether it's on your mobile, your tablet, your TV, your handheld, or even your console. This is pretty damn sweet. But we've had this information over here as well, and you know, it's a little bit disappointing to see, but I did call this out. Apparently, according to Tom Warren, Microsoft's own dedicated handheld is essentially cancelled. Now, I said this pretty much as soon as I saw this device. It was obvious. There was no two ways about it that this was going to happen. At the end of the day, the OS is the key to this. Now, I know people wanted a dedicated Xbox handheld that would actually play all their console games that they can take around with them. But as Xbox is transitioning from a console to a PC, it just doesn't make sense for them to go down that route. And especially with this OS that they've got now in place, the idea is that they're going to get those games working that you have purchased, as long as they can get licenses from the publisher, on the play anywhere. So at the end of the day, I think that this is going to be the way forward. As soon as I saw this, I already knew. So this isn't, I know Tom Warren has his sources, and you know, kudos to him, but this one didn't take a genius to figure out that this was the way it was going. At the end of the day, there's just no two ways about it. Microsoft is positioning itself, and when you think about it, it makes sense. The next Xbox that's coming along is going to have this OS. It's going to be very, very PC orientated in terms of, you know, composure, and if they're going down the OEM route as well, it's not going to be your traditional console. At that point, why would they want it to be? If it's got the OS on there, the UI that basically makes it feel like a console, to the point where you can't tell the difference whether you're on a Windows machine or a console, because it feels like a console, it plays like a console, then it pretty much is a console. Then what difference does it have to you? But from a development point of view, they no longer have to develop for the Series S or X. They just out and out develop for PC, and then you'll get that on your hardware. Now, I assume there's going to be reference consoles by Microsoft for this, for the base minimum of what you can get and the mid-tier of what you can get. But ultimately, this is the way it's going. So this being cancelled actually is no surprise, and I called it a number of days ago. Now, you got Stein over here, that fresh batch of Xbox Play Anywhere games revealed on Sunday. Now, everything revealed on Sunday was Xbox Play Anywhere that was on the showcase. And that was roughly about, what, 30, 40, 50 games? Something, about 30, 40 games on there, I think. I could be wrong in that number, but there was a lot of games. All of those add to this 1,000 plus games. The catalog is growing and continues to grow daily as Microsoft continues to add more Play Anywhere titles. Now, the weird one here, of course, is Final Fantasy Tactics, and why that isn't a Play Anywhere title is going to blow my mind. It's like you got Final Fantasy 7 that's Play Anywhere, you got Final Fantasy 16 that's Play Anywhere. Final Fantasy Tactics not being played anywhere. I mean, even Final Fantasy 9, I bought it just yesterday on the Xbox store, is play anywhere. Now 7 is not, and 8 is not, which again, I'm a little confused at, but these games should be play anywhere. That is the selling point. That is the USP of Microsoft. These deals need to be made and come to a conclusion, because I think more people would just buy them. Now, this one over here is kind of crazy, right? Because we all know that Gears' multiplayer kind of lives and dies by its player base, and segregating the communities is definitely not something you want to do. But if you're watching this right now, you can see that what's happening is that they go into the menu, and you've actually got the option to either have console only, so PlayStation and Xbox. You can have crossplay on, which includes PC, or off, so it's restricted to your platform. Now, this is a #1 way to actually kill your community. Now, I do understand that when it comes to the PC community, there's a lot of cheaters in there. It happens. It's a thing. You know, we see in every multiplayer game where people use wall hacks and stuff like that. Just look at Call of Duty. And this is probably one of the reasons that this has happened. But from memory, and I could be wrong with this one, it is a mandate of Sony to actually have this. So I don't really think Coalition had a choice in this. I know they're going to play it off like it was their decision, but at this point, I do think that this game is going to suffer for it, given that choice. Well, not the game itself, but the multiplayer. At the end of the day, you know, we've seen how Gears goes over the years. The multiplayer is fun, but the more you segregate, the less people there are to match against. In my opinion, Coalition should have turned around to Sony and said, look, this isn't a choice. You either take the game with our decision or not. But it looks like they caved, and Sony's mandate is going to live to fight another day, which I think their crossplay mandate is absolutely ridiculous with the royalties and everything else that comes with it. Silent Hill is officially in the development. This is the original game, the very first Silent Hill on PlayStation. This one is being remade. Now, we've got Silent Hill 2 that's already been done. Hopefully I get a chance to play it at some point, because it was gifted to me, so I really do need to play it. But Silent Hill 1 is being remade as well, so I wholly, expect after Silent Hill 1 that Silent Hill 3 will follow. Silent Hill 3 is a direct sequel to Silent Hill, the original, whereas 2 was kind of like a different story, its own kind of, capitalized story, so it kind of worked releasing that as the first game. Plus, it is one of the best ones in the series. But it's really good to see that Konami and Blooper Team have finally found their rhythm and are going back to these amazing games and releasing them. And yeah, it's great to see that Silent Hill is in official development. Now, this is where it gets a bit kind of dirty. I had someone in my chat, asking me, are you going to buy this and stream it and everything? But it looks like this game is completely and utterly broken. MindsEye gets the Cyberpunk treatment as PlayStation issues refunds. And you know better than I do that Sony doesn't do that willy-nilly. It has to be really bad. And we've seen the clips. The game is awful. Apparently, when the game was released, there was zero QA done on this game. It was all done by the devs, kind of debugging and doing what they can. Best happy day scenario, worst case scenario. But there was no really, destructive testing going on, or just the testing that you expect QA to do, because they didn't do any QA. But they have promised, now that they've got your money and they've taken your hard-earned cash, that on a roadmap they are going to address the bugs and performance issues. This is awful. This is not acceptable. Games like this should not be released. They fully well knew that this game was in a really bad state. And yet you've got people out there that are proclaiming that the game's in a really, really good state because either they were gifted or they've been sponsored by it. I think that's really bad. It's just really bad. But at the end of the day, there is a June roadmap to address bugs and performance issues. But I do hope that the publisher of this game actually gives back to those who actually bought the game, because this just isn't acceptable. And I think there really needs to be some form of governing body now that regulates over this, because this keeps happening time and time again. And if, I get this is the real second time that a game is released this broken. I guess Final Fantasy 14 will probably fall into this as well with the 1.0. But, you know, just because a company patches the games and comes back a year later, I paid my money now. How about giving me a refund now? And when you fix the game, you can send me an invoice. You can bet your bottom dollar they're not going to do that. So why should I pay for a broken game? So if you haven't bought this, you've dodged the bullet. And thank God I did as well. Now, Shuhei Yoshida, this is the final one I'm going to go through. Shuhei Yoshida says the biggest reason for Stellar Blade's success is its combat. Now, the combat is good. I'll give you that. The combat is good, right? But let's not be silly here, Shuhei. We all know that the combat only goes a certain way, right? The combat is only going to go a certain distance, right? I mean, the combat, it is all about the combat, right? We are seeing a lot of combated. I mean, the combat is pretty impressive. I mean, when you're looking at the combat, hot damn, the combat is really good. Really good combat. Really, really good combat. Yep. Really good combat. Yeah, no, Shuhei. There is no... This game is doing well because of Eve. To be fair, though, I don't think the game needs any mods. I think the game does a perfect job with the costumes already. I think this is going to be the first game where people actually put a bit more clothing on the characters, as someone said in my chat, than off. But the future of Xbox is changing. It's evolving, and it is turning into something completely organic, where it's everywhere. As long as you're a Game Pass subscriber, and a member, whether you play on PC or on console, you will have those games day and date on your platform as part of your subscription model. That is what Microsoft is banking on, and for everyone else, there is an option for you to purchase the game. But the future of Xbox is, has evolved, and people expecting the same kind of traditional console warring are just gonna have to adapt and get on with it. It's over. That kind of thing is finished. Nintendo now is doing their own thing. Sony is doing their own thing. And Microsoft is doing their own thing. At a time when all of them were trying to do the same thing, they've all kind of picked their lane and decided to go their own way. The only people who haven't quit on the console war, realistically, is the PlayStation fanboys. They are still trying to find a need to console war. But hey, there's no need for it anymore. Because Microsoft themselves said they lost the console war. So, end of this year, I am going to play Lost Souls Aside, which is releasing day and date on PC with PlayStation 5, which is a fully published PlayStation game, a single-player game, something they said they would never do, but a single-player PlayStation fully published game is going to be releasing day and date on PC, and I will be playing this game on my Xbox handheld. The times are strange, but that's where we are right now. I'll be playing a day and date release of PlayStation on my Xbox handheld. Let that sink in, if anything else wasn't. Right, folks, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Remain legend.